How can you use your business credit card to travel for free? If you're already using business credit cards to make purchases for your business, then you might as well be utilizing those points to travel completely for free. In this video, I have my friends Joy and Mayra from Savvy Travel Mamas joining me, and they're going to give you some really specific tips and tricks to help you implement this strategy in your business so that you can travel for free or for a reduced cost. And make sure that you stick around to the end because they're going to be giving their recommendations on what the best business credit cards are for the travel perks. So I am now here with Joy and with Mayra of Savvy Travel Mamas, and I'm really excited for this conversation. I have my notepad sitting here ready to go for me to take notes because some of the things that I love the most are good deals, i.e. free, and travel. So I'm here ready to learn. So first though, I want you guys to introduce yourself. Joy, tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what Savvy Travel Mamas does.
Hi. All right, guys, I'm Joy. I am one half of Savvy Travel Mamas. My mother, Mayra, is the other half. And what we do is we teach people how to leverage their credit card points for free or nearly free travel. We do personalized strategies for people, and we also give lots of tips. And we want you guys to learn how to travel for free. Credit cards will pay you to do it, and we want to show you all those tricks.
And I love all of that. Okay, so I'm going to take it down to you, Mayra, because I know you were the inspiration for starting all of this. You've been doing this kind of thing for a while. So tell us a little bit about your background and, how you got started teaching people how to do this.
Well, I stumbled upon it, just not really understanding what was going on. So I made a lot of mistakes in the early days. But as I began to see how it worked and that we really could travel for free, then it became more important to just keep it going and do more and do more and do more. So after we had been doing it for a number of years, and I've been doing it like 25 plus years, by that time we had hit all 50 states and we had hit all 7 continents and straddled the equator, been around the world a few times. And people heard about it and asked from a nearby college, asked that I would come and teach the course. Mm-hmm. So I had to put together a course of how to teach this way of traveling to make it legal, to make it correct. I even had judges and different kinds of people in there that I knew were going to be sitting there picking it apart. So I had to make sure that I taught it properly without getting in trouble. And that's just kind of where it went. My family thought I was crazy, but I was having a great time. And so were other people. So that's kind of why it all started, I guess, because Joy finally got sick of staying home and not being able to go anywhere and afford it. So she jumped in on my technique.
I love it. And I love the mother-daughter tag team. I think that's so awesome that you were kind of the inspiration. And then Joy said, let's put this out even more into the world so more people can learn about this. I think that's amazing. So I love what you all do. And you were like an OG in all of this. So it's really great to be able to learn and get some of the tricks of the trade.
What's funny, Jamie, is that a lot of the people that when she started this, that she followed, don't even exist anymore.
Oh, I'm sure.
She's been doing this longer than almost all of the people out there that are teaching people how to travel on points and miles.
Yep. Yeah. They just started doing it like 6 months ago on Instagram, right? This is like the real nitty gritty. She knows because she's been there. And I love that. Well, I'm excited to learn. So let's jump into talking about really how can businesses leverage their everyday purchases to earn points for free travel? What's kind of like the basics of that?
Yeah. So first off is you want to be strategic in the credit cards that you select. There are credit cards that come with certain travel rewards, and I know Jamie's going to have those on her Travel Freely page for you guys. And then it's taking it one step further to learn how to use those credit cards, how to redeem them for the best value. And then the final piece of that is with your everyday purchases. So you're not going to look to spend more than what you already spend on your business. It's learning how to maximize your everyday purchases, both personal and business, your groceries, your gas, your office supply, your gift cards, all of those things that you're going to use, your internet. Just knowing how to put them on the right credit card for the maximum earnings to leverage those expenses.
Yeah. So I love that, like putting them on the right credit cards. And I think that's one of the things that we're often not super intentional about, right? And I'm a really big fan of using credit cards responsibly. I talk about that a lot, right? We want to pay off the balances, because if you're not paying off balances, any credit card rewards you may get are probably being offset by interest and fees and all the things. But if you're using them responsibly, especially in a business where you probably have fairly, larger expenses than you maybe do in your personal life, that can really add up, and you can optimize that, right? And there's so much intentionality you can put behind it if you know the strategy. Let's talk about what types of businesses can benefit the most from using this travel rewards strategy.
All businesses. Honestly, when you learn how to do this strategy and you bring in a business aspect, that's when you can really boost your earnings for free travel. So whether you have a dog walking business, or you make sourdough bread, or you just have a little bitty side hustle, all the way to owning and running your own business, there's value in all sides of it. And that's where just understanding the credit cards and what's going to be best for you and how to use them with your expenses really comes into play.
Yeah. And I generally do recommend that, even in, for smaller businesses, even when you're just starting out, I do think it's a good idea to have a business credit card. It's also going to help you build business credit, right? So you can use these strategies. And a lot of times, like you said, you might be able to kind of, mirror up your points on the personal side and on the business side to maximize them, which we're going to talk a little bit more here. So let's talk about, are there any specific strategies or tips that you have for maximizing travel rewards with business credit cards specifically?
Exactly. Paying attention to the earning categories and maximize what you can. For example, you can go to an office supply store where you're earning like 5 times the points on your credit card, and you can purchase gift cards at the stores that you might need for employees or client gifts for whatever reason that you have. And then making small changes in the way that you pay your bills, like paying your cell phone bill or your internet with a credit card that has a higher earning category. And sometimes they might even have that particular thing that has cell phone insurance on it as a benefit. So just knowing your cards really well will help to be able to do that. And there are several cards where you can combine your personal rewards with your business rewards, and knowing that they work together is the kind of the sweet spot. But you have to understand which cards work together and which ones don't, so that you're getting into the right track, into the groove for the best learning ability and the best spending rewards.
Yeah, I love that. I think that that's something I'm actually motivated coming out of this conversation. I'm probably going to make a spreadsheet, because I love spreadsheets, and go through my cards, because that is something I'm not great at. We have various different cards that we just kind of have on auto pay for different things, but it's probably not optimized based on the categories that they're really going to earn the most. And especially a lot of times when these credit cards have, I know I have a credit card that does these quarterly, certain categories, you get an extra boost. And so, when we're used to just using the same card all the time and not thinking about it, then, we're not going to optimize it. So that awareness, I think, is a really great place to start with whatever you have. You don't have to go sign up for a bunch of new cards. First, figure out what are you getting points on for what you already have, right?
Hey, Jamie, we actually have a spreadsheet I'll be happy to share with you. And we have some strategies that we've put in play to help our clients know how to keep their cards organized.
I will take that. I am here for the spreadsheet. So we will share the spreadsheet down below, y'all. I love it. Saving me some time. Okay, so how important is it to pick the right business credit card for your travel needs? Are they all kind of the same, or are they like pretty different?
There's a lot of variety, and more so than you might realize with the travel rewards. So you want to make sure that you understand exactly what the card has to offer before you apply for it. And then there are also cards that partner with specific brands, like Chase with Southwest, or American Express with like Hilton cards. They're great, but you don't necessarily just go grab what you want. You need to know the rules first, and then starting with ones that are limited, and then you just need to figure out how you want to redeem those rewards. So there are a lot of different factors in it, but just choosing wisely and knowing what's out there before you just start applying willy-nilly for those things.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point because I think a lot of the time when people are applying, maybe they're looking at what the sign up bonus is,
Right.
but not necessarily the ongoing, rewards and if that's going to match what they really need. So you probably want to look at the whole picture, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
So then what are some of those key factors that we're talking about that you should consider when you are selecting a travel rewards credit card?
Absolutely. So when we sit down with clients and start working on a strategy session, some of the first questions we ask them are how many new cards they've opened in the past 24 months, because each bank has its own rules. So we want to make sure we're going to match them with right cards that fit where they're at. We look at their expenses that they have. We talk to them about fee versus no fee, find their comfort level. Look at the benefits of a card, right? Because every credit card has a different benefit. So maybe you can meet the required spend on the Capital One Venture X of $8,000, but if you're not in a season of heavy travel and you're not going to get the use of that $395 annual fee, then we're going to find another card that's going to work for you right now and move that to later on in your strategy. So we also do try to watch sign-up bonuses and pair you in the strategy with the proper sign-up bonus, because the cards have, the cards are a little predictable in some ways. You can always look back at historical how they do things. And so it's not a guarantee, but it is a little bit of a guiding tool for us. But we do try to maximize sign-up bonuses, but more important is keeping you on that strategy for the best card that will work for you.
Yep, absolutely. I love that. And really, I like the talk too about fee versus no fee, because I think that's one of the questions we're always wondering is, okay, does it make sense to go with perhaps a card that has a fee? Are the additional benefits you might get gonna exceed that? Right. And so there's a calculation behind that to see if it makes sense. Okay. Now I want to do the fun stuff. I want some examples. I want some like real life stories of how you have utilized this strategy and what kind of trips you've been able to go on, or people that people that you've helped. Give us some inspiration.
We happen to have one who's owns their own business, like, for example, a dentist, and he likes to collect all of his rewards and take his wife on exotic things, flying first class and family on vacation. But personally, we're farmers. And so because of the farm business and all the expensive stuff you have to have for the farm, it's been easy for us to use that credit card for a lot of those reward things that we could do. And we've personally used them to vacation for ourselves, for our family. And then we try to treat, when we have grandkids who graduate high school, we try to do something very special for them, like offering them the opportunity for a European vacation that they wouldn't have the opportunity to do otherwise. So we like to give them opportunities that are out of the norm, instead of just giving them a hunk of money that they can go blow and never remember what they did for it. We want them to have a memorable experience, time with us, as well as doing something special to see the world and other people. So that's a start.
I love that.
We have a family of 8 right now that is also, the mom owns a skincare line. So we've put them on a strategy so that they can take their whole family to Hawaii next summer and not have to spend big. Because when you get a larger family, it adds up really fast.
Yes.
And then we are working with another family. She's a doula. She owns her own private business as well. They have a family of 5. And they homeschool, so they want to do some world schooling this fall. And we're working on a strategy to earn their miles. So they're going to be going to Europe for several weeks this fall. And then the last, we have several clients, but the last really great example is one who has a brick and mortar store. They have a sporting goods store that they own. They're leveraging both personal and business card strategies to be able to do a trip to Scotland next year. So planning is key, but it's all, you can go wherever your imagination can take you with the right strategy and advanced planning.
Yeah, I love that. And what's interesting is when you talked about, one of the examples you gave, Mayra, was somebody who wanted to fly first class. And I will say, if anybody's ever looked at like upgrading a trip and they're like, oh, I'm going to buy the first class. Somebody posted online about this the other day and I was laughing and they said, how is it that the flight I wanted to take to Europe is $2,000, but if I decide to upgrade, it was $35,000 for a first class
Wow.
ticket. And they were just in shock because that's an insane multiplier. You're still going from point A to point B. But again, using rewards points and upgrades and all these things is such a better strategy to be able to do something like upgrading to first class than paying it out of pocket.
Right. When we took a grandson and there were 4 of us who went on a trip to Europe, and we did several countries. We were gone 2 weeks using our points and our miles with all of the airplanes that we did, the trains, and all of the hotels that we did for that period of 2 weeks. We used a ton of points and a ton of miles, but the dollar figure for those particular pieces of it were like less than $200 a person.
Wow.
And when we first started traveling, my husband and I got him into some business class seats. It spoiled him. But I know even before that, in the early days of traveling, he would be so nervous going to the airport that he would think, oh, somebody's going to come and arrest us. How can we do this for free? You know, so he was really nervous about it. He's gotten pretty comfortable with it now. And he just almost doesn't even want to fly anywhere at all internationally unless it is either in business or first. And I'm just grateful that we have the knowledge and that we have the points to be able to do it. And we're taking off on this trip just in a few days. And we're in business class seats. And then coming home, we're in Virgin class, upper class. So we're taking advantage of this and loving it. But you have to not start the way I did years ago with bumbling through a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so give us like, what would be your best piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's just starting out? They really want to start utilizing this a little bit better. What would you tell them to do?
When we're doing this, we want our clients to understand that we understand the plan, we understand the strategy, and that you don't want to make the mistakes that I did in the beginning. So first of all, I would say choose wisely. Choose wisely. Take a breath, take your time. Understand the rules of applying from the different banks and determine the course of action for the maximum rewards for a long period of time. You don't want to make mistakes and get shut out. You know, you want it to be over a long period of time. And at the same time, you don't want it to impact your personal or your business credit score. Mm-hmm. So if you apply by slowly, following the rules, and learn the details of each credit card that you get along the way, so that you can maximize the benefits and the spending categories, then you're going to be able to have years and years and years of wonderful travels for practically nothing.
I love that so much. I'm actually leaving the country on Friday, and I don't think I've told you this, but I did use points for our plane tickets. However, we are not in business class, and I need to get into some of these details because now I'm like, man, we're missing. I was so proud of myself, but I still feel like I'm not fully optimizing it either. Yeah. So I love just like the way that you can do this and really be able to have not just travel for free, but traveling well for free, right? Like, able to have this, making it experiential. I just think that's such an incredible gift. Those are memories that you're going to be able to keep forever. I just think it's such an amazing thing to be able to do for you, for your family. You know, I love it. So
Mom is being modest. Jamie, when we started this, I asked her to add up all her like savings throughout the years of travel. Because when you get into this, one thing that you do is when you first book your flight or your hotel and points, you then go online and you're like, what is that selling for? Because you want to see the value you're saving, right? So she didn't track it from the very beginning. She's only really tracked it from 2014 forward. And so in that amount of time frame, it was, I wish I had the exact number, but it was like almost $400,000 in savings on cost versus value. So we estimate that she has saved well over $500,000 on travel in 25 years. And the average of each trip comes out to about 90% savings. And that's a lot of trips in 25 years that she's taken. And that is what we've averaged. It's really a 90% savings on your vacation.
That's absolutely incredible.
No, she's being so modest over there.
This is the internet. We gotta shout it from the rooftops, Mira.
The other piece of advice that we have is it is never too early to start earning rewards. Mom made me sign up for my first credit card about 5 or 6 years ago, and I didn't understand it. I didn't know what I was doing. I've just had it on autopilot. Mom, cover your ears. I have earned an American Airlines companion pass like 3 times and let it go to waste because I didn't realize what I was doing.
Yep.
Can you believe that? So now that I know all of this, I've had those points though. I've never used them. So once I was ready to start, we were able to just jump right in and go because I've earned all those points. Because when you start earning, they don't go away, depending on what cards you have and if you're saving them. Yep. So start slow. It's never too early to start earning, even if you don't have immediate travel plans. Because trust me, when you're ready to book that vacation, you would much rather have the points right now than get on a strategy and realize like, oh crap, it might take me 3 to 6 months to earn enough points to then book this, to then plan my vacation. Yeah. So it's not an overnight success. And then the last piece of that is with your strategy, just take it one card at a time. Yeah. Really get to know that credit card. Because this is a rabbit hole that you can go down that can become overwhelming so fast. So those are our best pieces of advice. Take it slow, choose wisely, and learn your credit cards one at a time.
And I think that that's a good point because I think people may watch this and think, okay, am I going to need to have 20 different credit cards to make this happen? Right? And what would you say to people who are worried about that?
I mean, you may eventually have 20 plus credit cards, but you're not going to get them all in 1 year. You're not going to get them overnight. And I will pre-warn you, once you start this, you can't stop. I mean, you can, but you won't want to stop. It's kind of like an addicting habit of, oh my gosh, I can travel for free and I can do all this stuff. So,
yeah. And I love the point too that you made about tracking it. And tracking your savings. I think that's something that we don't, I love tracking things and that's not something that I track, but I think just the act of tracking it to see how much you've actually saved over time is also a really motivating factor to keep doing this, and just how wide of a world that this is and that you can explore it by using this wisely. And I feel like we always feel like there's an inundation of information out there. It's like, how do you filter through it all? How do you know if you're making the right decisions? Is this the best way to cash in your points or is another way the best way to cash in your points? I think we're always feeling like that, but I mean, again, just being more intentional, more strategic, employing some of the things that you have on your channels and the tips that you give people, I think can really help them make huge strides in this and be able to hopefully travel the world. Right?
That bucket list keeps growing every day. I'll tell you, my kids come up with a new destination and I'm like, okay, this is not going to happen next year. We have to narrow it down.
One of the things that I actually teach, interestingly too, and this kind of goes hand in hand, I think, is I teach the fun fund in business. So one of the things I have business owners save for, not just taxes, not just for a rainy day, all the boring stuff, but also save for something fun. And most of the people that I teach end up, deciding that that's a specific trip they're trying to save for. So again, if you can kind of, partner that with what you're doing with your credit cards, it could just make you get there that much faster and your business can help you do it. And that's what I really love. It's not just, we're not in business just to be in business. We're in business to have a lifestyle that we enjoy, right? And that we can celebrate and enjoy with our families. I love that. So, okay, then let's talk about what is the best starter card. Let's get specific. Let's talk about cards. What's the best starter card if somebody's just getting started for their travel rewards journey?
Absolutely. Okay, so we always suggest to start with the Chase family. Now, there is going to be a caveat there. If you have a small business, a side hustle that you're working, there may be some other beginner business credit cards that we should start with. But Chase, from a personal perspective and business perspective, has the best transfer value for that free travel or nearly free travel that you're going to want. So the top card that I would recommend is the Chase Inc. Business Preferred. Now, it does have a pretty big minimum spend of $8,000 in 3 months. So if that is not doable, don't go out and push yourself. You can put it farther down in your strategy. This is where strategy comes into play. Start with the Chase Inc. Business Cash card. and then pair it with the personal Chase Sapphire card. And by pairing those two together, you can get all the rewards and all the doors will open for you. It lowers annual fees for you and it gets your foot in the door a lot more easily.
Yeah, I love Chase cards too. That's what I use mostly in both personal and business. One mistake, I'll tell you one personal mistake that I made, because I applied for my business credit card and I was like, oh, great, I can share these points between my business and my personal. But I didn't realize my husband is actually the primary on the personal one. And so we couldn't share the points between the two. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm sure there's a way we can make it work, but that's been a roadblock. But I love Chase cards too. It's what I recommend. I have a whole bunch of cards that I recommend down below, which also tells you about what their current sign-on bonus is and all the things. And I'll make sure that the ones mentioned here today are included on that list. Okay, so one more question then. What would you say to somebody who uses typically their credit card rewards points for cash back and not for travel?
Ooh, that's a great question. We actually post about this a lot because the first thing people always say to me is, oh man, I get 5% back on Amazon and I'm going to use all those points on Amazon to make my purchases. If you want to do that, that is great. Go for it. Just know you are really missing out. So the thing with using it with cash back or Amazon or any other way is that $500 cash back will never be more than $500. It will only ever equal $500 worth of purchases on stuff that you're probably going to buy anyway, or stuff you may not even need that you're just buying. However, $500 cash back in terms of Chase Ultimate Rewards equals 50,000 rewards. And that can be a first class flight in a lie down seat to Europe. That can be a week-long vacation at a resort in another country. That can be a trip for 2 to Hawaii. It can equal so much more because the way the points transfer, depending on seasonality and time of year when you go, you can find some deals. Like right now, there are deals to Europe for literally 30,000 points for first class seats.
Wow.
So just knowing that those 50,000 points can equal so much more than $500 is so much more amazing to me than spending it on stuff I don't need on Amazon.
Well, and Mary, you were just telling about a specific example of this too.
Yeah. And this has been a few years ago. We had 80,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards, and I was able to turn those 80,000 rewards, which would have been $800, when I transferred them to a specific travel partner. Then I redeemed it for a ticket in business class one way to India. And had I purchased the seat, it would have been $8,000.
Yeah, that's leverage right there. And I love that. And the other thing that I'll add, and I've talked about this before too, is with business expenses on the business side, right? A lot of times business owners will redeem for cash back off of their credit card, but that ends up actually reducing your deductible business expenses when you do that. Or they'll use it for travel in their business that would have been a deductible business expense. So what I tell people usually is, hey, don't do that. Get as much on the deductible business expense side as you can and use that for your personal expenses instead. And that's going to be better from a tax perspective too. But again, it's all about optimizing it, being intentional with it, and having a plan, which I'm a big fan of.
Exactly.
And now I want you to tell me, how can people find you? How can they work with you if they want to do a strategy session or if they just want to follow you for tips? Tell us a little bit about that, Joy.
Absolutely. All right. So we are on Instagram and Facebook as Savvy Travel Mamas. I know Jamie will have our link made available for you guys. We do take on personal clients to set up a strategy, whether you want to do a business and personal, just a business strategy. We'll be happy to put you on your own credit card path that's going to work with you. We'll ask a few questions like, We take your existing points and miles balances that you have, so we compare the right credit cards to grow that, or if we're working towards a specific trip. But yes, on our Instagram page, you can find our link with all of the information. We have a few freebies on there as well, so feel free to go ahead and download those and check us out.
Yeah, that's exciting. I love what you do. And I love that you can create these personal strategies for people. And I love that you're actually pulling in like, hey, what do you have now? And how can we optimize that and then add to it? So I think that's fantastic. So definitely go check them out. Go follow them, book a consult if you're ready to plan that trip wherever you want to go. If you're like, you know what, we're going to Europe in 2025, let Joy and Mayra help you. I am just so glad you guys could come and join. This was such a great idea. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Jamie. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. We'll see you soon. That was a great conversation with Travel Savvy Mamas. And we have all the things that we talked about, including our recommended credit cards, in the link below. Go see jamietrull.com/credit cards and check out the show notes for more information about Travel Savvy Mamas. Also, now that you know what to look for when it comes to travel credit cards, you might also want to know how you can write off travel in your business. If so, definitely check this video now because we're going to go into all of that. Thanks for joining me. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.